Hey, what it do? It's your boy Mr. E, director Mr. E. You know what I'm saying? I'm here with Bree Productions. Hey man, we live in effect. You know what I'm saying? So tap in and tune in.
Hey, go on.
Bree more. Bree more production.
Hey, go on. Hey, go on. Hey, go on.
Bree more.
Hey, go on. Hey, go on.
All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Bree Productions YouTube channel. We have a special guest, and his name is Mr. E. And if you are not aware of who Mr. E is, he is the director of the Triple D Revenge movie. I wish I had clappers. Yay. So thank you so much for visiting Bree Productions and giving us your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So what inspired you to create the film Triple D Revenge?
Triple D Revenge was actually part 2 of a film that I did about 6 years ago called the Triple D Movie. I had a cast of rappers and artists that was kind of hot at the time in Dallas, and basically we wrote the film, we put the film out and we premiered it, and it did a whole lot better than I thought it would be, or did better than I thought it would do. So I was like, you know what, film is something I want to do for the rest of my life.
What was you doing before?
I was a producer. I came from the music world.
Oh, I got you. That's why you so nice on the sounds, and that makes sense. Before we click play, Mr. E actually gave us some gems about sounds and how to use this beautiful masterpiece of Rodecaster. So thank you so much for that. We really appreciate that.
Oh no, y'all have a gorgeous setup. I'm proud of y'all.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So the 6 years between the first movie and Triple D Revenge, what took you 6 years to create the Triple D Revenge movie?
It didn't necessarily take me 6 years. What it was I was, just like any director, I was looking for a budget, looking for resources, looking for means to be able to actually produce the movie. And I just got a epiphany, and I was like, and I honestly feel like God was like, man, just go ahead and get started, and everything that you need, I'll provide for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so here we are.
So what was your first step, though?
The first step was writing the script.
Writing the script.
Absolutely.
And then how did you choose your cast?
I'm very picky when it comes to the casting. And I did do a couple of auditions. I did one audition at Real Life Street Stars, their studio, at the time it was at North Dallas. Shout out to them.
Shout out to them, yeah.
And then the second one I did at it was the studio in Euless that everybody go to with Jeff. No, that's the video guy. He's an engineer. I can't think, but I did 2 auditions, one in Dallas and then one in like Tarrant County. I don't know why I can't think of that studio, but
shout out to you if you watching. Shout out to you.
No, shout out to you for sure.
Yes.
And I did 2 casting calls and auditions, and those were well too. But my approach with casting was just being real in tune with the characters that I created in the film.
I love the fact that you are paying homage to Dallas.
Absolutely.
Was that always your intention when you created the script, was to showcase what we have here in Dallas?
Absolutely. Even before the Triple D movie, I came out with a record with Dero and Don Chief and Bebe and Tay called the Triple D Anthem.
I love that movie. I mean, I love that song. That's dope. I
Yeah.
played that song when I think when they won the Mavericks game or something like that.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's right,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
right.
The Mavericks won the championship. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I wrote and produced that record.
You wrote and produced that record.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's a dope record.
Thank you. Thank you. So I always been pro Dallas. Born, raised here. Always been pro Dallas.
Okay. What area are you from in Dallas?
Oak Cliff, Holly Hills.
Okay. What schools did you go to?
I went to Wilma Hutchins. I started out at Wilma Hutchins, but then I had got kicked out of Hutch, so that I ended up at Carter.
Okay.
Carter High.
So growing up, you was always a creative and,
Yeah.
making music.
Yeah. I started out being an artist for a few years, and I realized most of my calling was producing. So I really got going when I started producing.
So how is the industries different between music and film in Dallas?
How was okay, because you kind of asked two different questions.
Yeah, so the music industry and the film
Film
industries are two different industries.
Right, and then you said in Dallas. So
In
then
Dallas, yeah.
Well, I think the way they are different, they're pretty much different in every place. Number one, it's just different industries. Music, focus on music. Film, I think, has a whole lot more different moving parts, if that makes sense.
So I asked you because music artists, I know the music artists that we interview and other music artists in Dallas, they have this sense of they don't get enough shine here. They feel like they have to move to Atlanta or LA.
Right.
Like the music industry in Dallas it's existence, but it's hard to pop off.
Right.
So that's the reason why I asked you that question.
Oh no. There's some that's very valid. And in the film industry, it's kind of the same way.
It's the same way in the film industry as well?
Yeah, it's kind of the same way. The thing is, Dallas has never really been known as a place for film. Now, we did have a time period where we was known for music, and that was during like the boogie area.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we had this one era where not only were we known for putting out records, but we had our own sound. So I think right now we're looking for that same thing when it comes to film. And that's what I'm excited about because I want to do that for film.
And I feel like, do you feel like that whole era that we had where we were pretty much our very own existence, like Dallas had its own music, Dallas had its own hairstyles and our own clothing styles, like,
Right.
do you feel like we need that back? And did we miss out on that shot that we had?
Yes and no. Could have been bigger, absolutely. I'm gonna give you an example. So Dallas had this big dance craze. Of course, we called it the boogie movement. Well, now everybody is doing reels. Everybody's doing TikToks. Everybody's doing Trills. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's because at the time, the culture of Dallas had a feel-good movement, and there was just as big of a crowd that was resisting that. You know what I mean? Because, it was this image thing where it was like, we don't want to be known as the dance city, but in actuality, we was very much ahead of the game. But see, the problem with it is that for so long, Dallas had identity issues. We, most of the time, was always synonymous to somebody else's culture versus our own.
Right.
So when it came time for us to have our own culture, then everybody was like, well, we're not gangster like some of this other stuff. When, to be honest with you, every city has their dance movement and their party movement,
Right.
and so on and so forth. But it's just that we were not versed enough to understand that just because you have a dance movement, it don't mean you're a dance city. It just
Yeah.
means that you have a dance movement. Now, the culture right now with the internet, the world has a dance movement.
Yeah.
But we started that though. You see what I mean?
Ooh, you think Dallas started the dance movement?
The way it is right now, absolutely, because Dallas was at the forefront of having a movement and then putting it on the internet.
That's true. Yeah.
That's where the My Doug E and all that stuff came. Soldier Boy doing
South Dallas, the South Dallas swag,
all that. And we was doing it right at the threshold of internet being as big as it is.
That's true. I agree with that. Yeah. I agree with that. So now, as a film director, as a creative, period, you know, one of Nina Simone's infamous quotes is, the creatives actually, what she say? They showcase what's going on in this time. Like, you are demonstrating this time. So how are you representing Dallas culture through your films at this very moment?
Well, and I don't want to get too far off subject, but the first one was about the music. It was about the dialogue. It was about the way we dressed and all that. So in this one, I wanted to give a more sophisticated image of how Dallas is, how gangster it really can be, how organized crime can be in Dallas. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
I was still giving an impression of Dallas, but I wanted to do something a little bit different than I did the first time.
So did you receive full inspiration from the city, or did you look beyond the city for inspiration?
Both. I was inspired to be. I'm still inspired to be a great filmmaker, and a lot, there's a lot of great filmmakers that's outside of the city. You know what I mean? There's also some great filmmakers that's in the city that has yet to be discovered. But from a filmmaking standpoint, I was definitely inspired by things outside the city. But when it came to the culture, I've always been inspired by the city.
So do you think the culture have changed recently since the Dougie era? How is the Dallas culture now?
Yeah, but I don't know if it's as original as it was during the boogie movement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How can we advance that though? How can we become what we were before?
I mean, it's identity issues. It's just like being in a relationship. You know, you want to tell your lady, you be you. You know, despite what everybody else is doing, you be you, and it's only a matter of time before people will follow you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's the same thing. Like in this city, if we come to grips with the fact that the way we deal and the way our culture is, that it's infectious, and stop being like everybody else, then people will follow us. And you're talking about the fourth biggest market in America.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that lane is open to start trends. You know what I mean? People can say what they want about Yellow Beezy. People can say what they want about Mo3. Excuse me. People can say what they want even about Trap. But all three of them, neither one of them sound like anybody else.
That's true.
They're them. And that's why they were able to create a lane for themselves that other people don't have to say that they follow. They made their own lane. You know what I mean? So it's like the best thing you can do is be original. As a city, the best thing that we can do is be original. You know
I agree. I absolutely agree. I really hate when I get on Instagram and everybody is looking like everybody that's like in New York or Atlanta. I'm like, where is the representation of Dallas?
Yeah, they crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's just like we all got a responsibility in that, because now that it's the younger generation that's doing their thing, like we need to start checking them. Like, say, you sound like them or you look like them. Mm-hmm. Nah, nigga, you look like you.
Right.
It's just like, even as a filmmaker, I don't look at other cultures and say, oh, I'm gonna incorporate that in that shit. I'm gonna stray away from that, because I'm like, we're not trying to do what they do. Just like there's nobody in my family that sound like they from New York.
I love that.
You know what I mean? Because that's not our culture.
Yeah.
Now, there are people with different dialects that's in the film, but I'm not trying to make that represent Dallas.
Right.
We are us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
And one thing that I truly appreciate in the Triple D Revenge movie was the soundtrack. The fact that you used Dallas music throughout the entire film, new and old. I was like, oh yeah, because I love music. And to hear that was just that was the icing on the cake for me, to be honest.
Thank you.
Okay, I have one question because I really enjoyed the soundtrack. One of my favorite songs that you actually put on there was the TYE when you did the Ty song and it had that whole scene. I thought that was so Dallas. When you did that like shot of the whole city coming in, I thought that was so Dallas. What made you use TYE? Because you said you went to Carter, and I know he also went to Carter.
Right.
What made you use Ty? Because he's another artist who has his own original thing, his own
Absolutely.
original sound. Like him playing the piano, going to the parks in the hood, and just having people come. Like he got his own thing going. So what made you choose him as an artist on your soundtrack?
First of all, shout out to Ty Harris, and not just him, just everybody that made the soundtrack. Because as much as I would love to take credit for the soundtrack, it was definitely a collaborative effort from everybody that was on the soundtrack. So shout out to them.
Wonderful
Ty
job.
Harris, I didn't know him from Carter. You know what I mean? I knew him from the city, and he was just somebody I reached out to, and I was a fan of the record, and I think I want to say I asked for the record before the video came out.
Man, because when he first released it,
Yeah.
I said, okay, somebody got to jump on this. So to hear it on in the Triple D Revenge movie, I was like, bro, this is sick. Like, I have to talk to the creators of this because this is like, it just went so perfectly with the scene. It was so Dallas. Like, I thought that, if nothing else represented Dallas, Texas, I thought that particular scene, that song, that everything was just so Dallas as fuck.
Yeah, I love that record, and I thought that it fit the scene. You know what I mean? And to me, it's about a feeling. So if it give me that feeling, then I'm like, okay, that's the record.
And you feel like you in Dallas at that very moment. Yeah.
You were on like a virtual reality Dallas trip, where the language, how people talking, how people looking, how people joking Dallas, like it was crazy. Like,
For
sure.
It was
For
so Dallas.
For sure.
So what was your favorite scene in the movie? What made you proud of the movie?
What was my favorite scene? That's a good question because it's a few scenes that I really like. I think so. I'm gonna tell you a secret and a story, and this might give you some idea of what my favorite scene was. So I had a screenwriter. He kept submitting stories to me based on my story, but he kept submitting screenplays to me, and I didn't like it. Come to find out what it was that I grew, right? So the bottom line is the pandemic hit. And when the pandemic hit, I said, hell yeah, because now I can write it over. So I literally wrote the script from scratch. But what made me write the script from scratch was the scene with Big Lou in the back of the car in the beginning of the movie, where he goes into this monologue, and he says, "This here is brick season. Crumb niggas have no place amongst us. See, we don't do this in the name of clout. We do this in the name of respect, because nobody, and I mean nobody, is beyond respect." So as I'm writing Big Lou's this monologue, it kind of gave me the feeling like I gotta write this whole thing from the beginning, because I wanted to be that gangster, just as gangster as that monologue. So I said that to say that's probably my best scene. I mean, the scene that I liked the most, because that was the turning point, and that was what made me realize that I needed to write the script on my own word for word.
That's dope.
You did it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
His voice,
I
though.
appreciate
Big
it.
Lou's voice throughout the.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, he killed that. So, have you had anyone outside of Dallas that watched the film and was like, I didn't know y'all get down like that in Dallas?
Yeah, everybody.
Everybody. Why do they underestimate us?
I don't know, but even
Yeah.
when when they had the Asians come in and then he sit down and chicken, I was like, wow, like he got a lot of Asian people in this city.
Right.
Like,
Right.
That was a
this is
shocker
so,
for me,
like,
too.
That's what made me feel like this movie's on a different level, because
Thank you.
it wasn't what you would have expected it to be. I think that was for a lot of people. I
Right.
think a lot of people thought it might have been a low budget type of thing. But like when you went to that premiere and you really sat there and you got to see the whole movie come together, it was like, wow, this is like bigger than Dallas. Like I feel like it was a whole movement at that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Definitely.
Thank you for that. And you know, that was my goal. My goal really was to try and create something that did not look like we shot it at Big T Bazaar.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you can tell.
Did that.
Yeah.
The quality of the music. That's the first thing the movie, the quality in the music.
To see my
When it
son
first,
like that from
Right.
like up and just to see that
Inspiring.
him like
That's where I'm from. Yeah, that's where I'm from.
For sure.
That's amazing. So I don't know why people outside of Dallas underestimate us, because I coordinated a fashion show in Philly.
Right.
And having communication with them, they swear that we drive tractors and horses to school. And I'm like, bruh, we are not country like that. Like, we country, but yet we are city too. I think people get it confused.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of misconceptions about Dallas, but until we really start putting out dope content, people are going to continue to have them misconceptions about us. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and we can't blame them because, you know, we're not exposing them to it.
Right.
So we just got to keep putting out dope shit. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about working with Mo3.
Okay.
How was it? How did you even choose Mo3 to be in Triple D Revenge? How did that come about?
Okay. Well, first of all, long live Mo3. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Long live my little brother. Mo3 was actually the first one in the movie that I casted. He was literally the first one I casted. He did an interview with Real Life Street Stars. It was one of their first interviews. And they had a habit of asking everybody about the first Triple D movie. This was right after the first Triple D movie. They had a habit of asking, why do you think you went in the Triple D movie? You know, on some controversy shit,
Right.
which was
you
cool.
really watching it and you really know what's up. That's
Right.
every time they did, I was like, why are you asking me?
Because they just wanted to start the controversy.
Yeah.
They want niggas to say, fuck Triple D movie. You know, so they get that clickbait. Shout out to Jeff and them, man. Shout out to Real Life Street Stars. But, you know, the way 3 approached it was different. He was like, man, you know, salute to them boys. I know Mista E, cool nigga. You know, I ain't tripping. So I had made it up in my mind that I wanted to get him in the film because he had that personality. This was way before, you know, the music had took off, the singles had took off, all that. Mm-hmm. So when I got to the point where I wanted to shoot it, I personally didn't think he was gonna honor his word. I didn't think that he was gonna do it because at the time he had got kind of hot as an artist, and I figured he was just gonna be focused on that. Now you got to remember, in Dallas ain't known for just putting out dope movies. So when you go to somebody and you say, "Hey, I'm gonna put out a movie," and they hot as an artist, then they, you know, a lot of artists ain't gonna believe you because it ain't never happened.
In interviews, he had already said like he had been just talking about the movie and everybody was wondering what it was. So
Yeah,
for it to have been Triple D Revenge, I know that also took like the marketing up because it was like, oh my God, like 3's in this movie and
Right.
then he passes and it's like even more people want to see it just because he was in it.
Absolutely.
Do you think he
Absolutely.
would have gotten more scenes had he not passed? Because that's something I've been hearing in the streets a lot. Like they felt like 3 being in the movie, he wasn't as in the movie as they thought he would have been.
Right.
So do you think that if he hadn't passed, he would have been in the movie more, would have had more scenes, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm gonna finish answering that first question, how he even got in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So the bottom line is, I hit him up, and I was like, "Yo, you still gonna do the movie?" And to my surprise, the nigga was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Damn, okay." And then, to add injury to insult, I had to turn back around and say, "Well, yeah, 3, but you know, we try to do things on a different level, so you can't really be in the movie unless you take acting classes." And I feel like that was grounds for him. I felt like that was grounds for him to be like, "Ah, nah, go on, nigga, you doing too much." But he didn't. He was like, "Okay, I'm with it."
Oh, that's
and
dope.
he stayed dedicated to acting classes and all that, man.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, his work ethic was second to none. Now, to answer your question, if had he not been killed, would he have been in more scenes? Yeah, he would have been in more scenes, but we was blessed and fortunate enough to make sure that he was in every scene that was necessary for the film to make sense, and he was. He did every other scene that he needed to do. So, it was unfortunate that he passed, but it was fortunate that at least we was able to get them scenes out the way. Something told me to put a lot of his scenes at the forefront, and that's what I did.
Is it true that the day that he passed away, he was on his way to do something with you, like Triple D? Something, yeah.
The reason why he was here is because he had a scene to do. He had a scene to do, and they almost forgot about it. And of course, I had hit up Rain. Shout out to Rain. I hit up Rain, and I was like, "Hey, we shoot tomorrow." So he had hopped on the plane and made his way here. He just never made it back.
So did y'all finish that scene, or?
We never started it.
So there's a scene that he was supposed to be in that was not complete.
That's correct.
Oh wow!
But it didn't. It didn't affect the story. You
Oh,
know what I
okay.
mean? Yeah, it didn't affect the actual story.
As a director, how do you feel? Like, where was your head at when you found out? He woke up that morning to be on his way to shoot this scene for you, and
Right.
in the midst of that, he passes away. Did that affect you?
Hell yeah. Yeah. We end up shutting production all the way down for a week. I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it anyway because, 3 used to play a lot of pranks and jokes. You know what I mean? So I didn't believe it anyway. And so, when we got word, I ain't gonna lie, nigga felt like he was in the Matrix. For a lot of reasons. Number one, you gotta look at it like, okay, he's on his way to us. What would have happened if he would have made it to us and whoever's after him was there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a lot of things that went through my mind.
Right.
Yeah.
How did you cope with his death? Are you still coping with it?
Yeah. The reason why I say I'm still coping with it is because I know where this film can go. I know where he could have went as an actor. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I knew how it would have enhanced his career. And I don't feel like maybe other people know or understand until it happens. And it's like, unfortunately, I can see where it would have been before it actually gets there. So on that level, yeah, I am coping. On another level, I'm thankful that I was put in position to be able to do something for Three's legacy and give some more life, and some more extension to his life when it comes to who he was as a Dallas icon.
I was just about to say, do you feel that you have a responsibility for his legacy now due to the fact it was his first and last? Was it his first and last movie that he was in?
So no, he did a movie called he did Boosie's movie. I can't.
Oh yeah.
My Struggle. That's what.
Yeah,
it
My
was.
Struggle. Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did about 15 seconds in that movie.
Right.
Yeah.
But we have him on this cover. He's been,
Right.
So
Right. He just made a little cameo in my Struggle. Shout out to Boosie. But this was the first full feature film that he had, a major amount of dialogue and scenes and rehearsals and all that.
right.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like you have some type of like responsibility when it comes to his legacy in a sense. Like people gonna ask you thorough questions on how was Mo3? How was working with Mo3?
Absolutely. But even more than that, like I give my own self the responsibility.
That's true.
You know what I mean? It's to whom much is given, much is required. So if I was given the privilege to work with him then after his life, it's my responsibility to do whatever I can to extend that.
What is your fondest memory of him?
My fondest memory of 3, because it was a lot of them.
I bet he was funny in real life. Like,
He was funny as shit.
yeah.
He was funny as shit.
You read that?
Yeah, because I follow him on Facebook, and he was skull on himself. Like,
Yeah,
this nigga would talk about himself.
Pharrell got a whole song with this man, and at the end of it, 3 just roasted. It's like the fact that you love that man so much that you take that roasting as love, because that was real Dallas shit.
Yeah, that is some Dallas shit.
Like,
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell y'all this, and I'm gonna still answer your question, but I'm gonna tell y'all this. It's weird how 3 is, because 3 be roasting, but he don't just dry talk about people.
yeah, you can tell that.
Like, he don't talk about people's clothes or shoes or nothing. Like, he don't talk about people. But then it's like, if y'all cool, then he gonna high
He
side.
gonna fire your ass up.
Yeah, he gonna high side. he gonna high side. But he didn't just dry. You know, you guys niggas, you know, Dallas, our little culture, we gonna score. You know what I mean? And like, he wasn't the type of nigga that if a nigga was less fortunate than him or had these shoes and this shirt, he gonna roast them. Like, he wasn't that type of nigga. He was the type of nigga that went and bought $1,000 worth of clothes. Then he gonna still roast your ass.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, he was a high side king. But as far as my fondest memory, I remember one time we was on set and 3 had just approached me, and it was just one of them things. It wasn't even what he said; it was just how he said it, and it was just that moment where he just walked up to me and was just like, "E, thank you, bro." You know what I mean? And when I look back on that now, I remember what it meant. You know what I mean? At the time, I appreciated the fact that he had a vulnerable moment, but you know, I didn't really know what it meant until after he was gone. And it's like now it kind of resonates with me in a way that it didn't resonate at the time.
How dope it is to create opportunities for Dallas-based actors and actresses.
That's all I ever wanted to do. That's all I ever wanted to do. People were nice enough to give me a shot. You know what I mean? And I want to give other people a shot.
That's dope. I feel like we definitely need that in the city, though, because I see so many creators moving out, and I'm like, we just need those people that are willing to sacrifice and create these opportunities for everybody, and like you said, put out that dope content and unify.
No, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like that's the formula of Dallas. I hope y'all listening. Collaborate, please, and put out dope content, please.
No, absolutely.
So, have you read the reviews of Triple D Revenge?
Yeah, the ones that I saw. You know what I mean? If I hadn't seen it, but if I saw them, we got some people that left some interviews and people that left some reviews and did some review YouTubes and all that type of stuff.
Was you nervous? Did that make you nervous?
No. I'm always nervous when it comes to people just really looking at the film to begin with, because it's weird, right? So the better shit is, the more people scrutinize it.
Especially in Dallas.
It's crazy. The better it is, if it's on a subpar level, people don't be that critical.
Don't worry about it, because I think a lot of people thought that movie was going to come out on Tubi, and I love that you couldn't find that movie anywhere else unless you went to the premiere. Because niggas was looking.
We was definitely looking. We was definitely
I was
looking.
telling everybody about it. They was like, oh my God, when you gonna see it? I said, I went to the premiere. Like, so when is it coming out? I don't know when it's coming out. But I thought that was but having it exclusive, like, I think that really made it untouchable. Because everybody wants to watch it now, but you gotta you have to go to the premiere to see it, or you have to be invited to see it. Like, I thought that was really bad.
Oh, what you got to say?
Well, you know what the thing about it is, it's only a matter of time before everybody gonna have access to it, and that's what I want. I want everybody to be able to see it. You know what I mean? It's just that the process of the business side of it, like the distribution, the platforms,
Right.
all that stuff. People don't realize that it takes time because in Dallas they're not really accustomed to that. A lot of the filmmakers, and shout out to all of them, you know, a lot of, and I'm not knocking this approach at all, but a lot of the filmmakers, what they do is they shoot it, they put it in Adobe Premiere or Final Cut or whatever, or DaVinci or whatever. They chop it up, they give it a little edit, and they put it out. And then when they put it, they do a premiere, and then maybe a month later, it's on a platform. But that's not really conventional film. And the process that we went through is we went through the process that a lot of big time films go through. I mean, we talking about visual effects. We talking about this big process when it comes to the color grading, big process when it comes to the editing. We taking this through real quality control, big sound design and sound mixing and engineering, and then, you know, all these conference calls and meetings and concerns with distribution. I mean, we just go through every step. You know what I mean? And Dallas don't really understand that because it ain't never been like that. People do a little film, they say, we'll put it on a platform because that's all they know. You know, but we're doing our best to try to do it right so we can be represented right.
How long will it take for this movie to be on platform? Or when do you expect
We don't get to decide. You know what I mean? But I tell you what, like every morning I get up like it's an office job, and I return emails and calls and I take these meetings and all that because I'm trying to get it going as fast as possible. So for anybody that want to know, like we're trying to get. Yeah,
I seen
I'm
that.
trying to get it going as fast as possible. Forgive me.
You guys are traveling with the movie. You were just recently in Waco, right?
Yeah. So we did a red carpet premiere in Waco. You know what I mean? And we'll come to your city and do a premiere for sure. If you got people in your city that want to see the film, we'll definitely come to the city and show it.
What do they need to do that?
Just hit my DM.
Okay.
That's
That's
dope.
it. Just hit my DM. I mean, we just have to work out the logistics as far as the venue and all that, and making sure that the premiere can be accommodated, and then we coming.
I love that. I think that would be great for especially the Mo3 friends and people that are, you know, tuning in to what Dallas have to offer. Because believe it or not, people are tuned in to what Dallas have to offer, like seriously.
For sure.
So you just pretty much asked that question for me, like how people can watch and download the movie. So we still waiting on that process to be processed. So as a film director, now that you have accomplished two movies, right? The first one in the Triple D, and then the Triple D Revenge.
Right. The Triple D movie is called The Triple D Movie.
The Triple D
And then
Movie.
the second one is just Triple D Revenge. Kind of like my shirt. It's Triple D Revenge.
So
Yeah.
during the premiere, we noticed at the very end that there is something else coming next,
Right.
which is, what is his name? I like to call him Stacy
Stacy, Scully.
from the wood.
And Scully from
Yeah.
From Snowfall.
Yes, from Snowfall. Yes.
Shout out to DeAndre Bonds.
That's his
Shout out to
name.
DeAndre
Shout out
Bonds.
to you.
Yeah,
Legendary.
They not, man, let me tell you something. They ain't using Stacy like I'm gonna use him. They don't know what they doing. Stacy is a monster actor. Shout out to him.
Yes.
Stacy is a monster actor. I'm calling him Stacy like you, DeAndre Bonds. DeAndre Bonds.
Yeah, he killed that Stacy scene, but I can just imagine like what he have coming up next with you, because it was so like addictive, like real quick, like
Cause it's like, first for me it was like, okay, this is a Dallas movie. They don't make things like this
at all.
This is really big, and then you get through the really good movie, and then at the end you have a major actor at the end, and it's
Right.
like, okay, there's something next.
It's like, dang.
For me, that intensity was like, what he got with him?
Now he got the Asians and he got Stacy in his movie.
You was really red, for real. Like, that's what I thought. So what is or do you have an idea of what's next for you as far as movies?
Without speaking too much of my hand, the best way I can say is just stay tuned, because I'm really wanting something really big, and I'm feeling like it's gonna happen.
I noticed that you move in silence.
I do indeed.
very
Yeah,
much so.
because I'm doing my research and I'm like, this man ain't on social media like that. But then I come across a post that says, you know, you was showing a video of your deep freezer and how far you've come, because you remember the times where you didn't have
For
shit.
sure. Nah, for sure. For
And
sure.
then you was telling people like it's deeper than flexing on the ground. Like I done been
Right.
down, I done lived downtown, and y'all got y'all condos and y'all high rises downtown. Like no, it's deeper than that. And I love that post.
Nah, for sure, for sure. And you know what? They suspended my line.
Why?
I don't know. That's a good question. But yeah, they suspended my line, so I couldn't go get on live. But they let me get back on last night, so I'm gonna be back on social media and shit. Like I don't really be posting on my feed. I should be posting on my feed more. I don't really post on my feed, but I be on them stories. I post on my stories and I be getting on live. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna get back at it.
But I think that's important though, because
Yeah.
now it's like a show me society.
Nah, for sure.
And you want people to wonder, like, oh, what's next? Like, you want people to focus on your projects more than who you are and what you're doing on a daily
You
basis.
so right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So I was like, I appreciate that, especially that post. You see a lot of flexing, and it is deeper than that.
Right. You know, I've been there and done that. You know what I mean? That whole thing. It's just, you know, you get older and you get wiser, and then what happens is you lose people. You know what I mean? And then you realize that the shit that people put so much importance on really ain't that important. You know what I mean? But it just comes with growing and getting older and you know, just seeing life. I don't blame, or I don't blame the youngsters for, you know, flexing the way they do and do what they do. You know, we want them to be inspired, and we want them to, you know, attain as much as they can. But it's just, and I'm not trying to sound like an old man, but when you done been there and you done done that, that ain't that important. You know what I mean? not to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's important to you now?
Create a movement, getting people jobs, giving people the opportunities to take care of their families, making an impact on your city, your community, people around you, you know, working hard for your last name versus your first name. Yeah,
You have any? I see you a father.
I am.
So has that changed anything on how you move, or does that draw inspiration for you?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You know, again, when you're living for somebody else besides yourself, it affects the decisions that you make. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so it seemed like your films are, you know, suspense and what is that genre for films that are
Dramas.
dramas? Do you have any ideas to like go into romance or mystery or comedy?
So really, I was actually very, very, I was actually very inspired to do a rom-com. You know what I mean? A romance comedy. Cause that be like my shit when it comes to relationships and all that. But I'm getting the feeling people not gonna accept that from me right now. I'm gonna have to do 1 or 2 more dramas and thrillers before they can say, okay, we'll go ahead and accept something else from me. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's kind of like the shit kind of fucked up because it's like it's not a whole lot of black directors. So when you come out with a certain genre, people expect that genre from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? People don't really accept a comedy from John Singleton.
Yeah, no.
And they don't expect a thriller from Tyler Perry.
No,
You know what I mean? But see, I feel like I could change that shit because I can come out with a romance comedy that feels like Lee Daniels.
If it was some love,
Yeah.
We need that. Especially the way we talk how we talk to each other. Oh, man.
anywhere I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
see, I can do that and then turn around and do a thriller and that shit be gangster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, you know, in this game, you got to play the game before you can make the rules. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's good that you know that, and it seems like you done studied your craft. So, what advice do you have for inspiring film directors?
You know, we all have a responsibility to just study the craft. One of the biggest attributes you can have as a film director is honesty. And the honesty really actually comes from being honest with yourself. So I hear people all the time say, E, boy, you are, you know, the nigga in Dallas. You're the director, boy. You one of the best directors in Dallas, or the best director in Dallas. And if I'm being honest, I want to be one of the best directors in the world.
Right.
I'm not tripping on being the best director in Dallas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I focus a lot on Dallas, and she's like, you're close.
I tell her that all the
Yeah.
time. Like, bro, have a global mindset.
Absolutely. And so if you're honest on that level, then you know you come to grips to the fact that we got a long way to go. We got a long way to go. You know what I mean? And I'm looking forward to the journey, but the truth is we got a long way to go if I want to be the best. And so you just as an aspiring film director, you just have to be honest. You know what I mean? You just have to be honest with yourself and say, you know what, this could be more dope. This could be more dope. We tighten up on this. The process that I have, and shout out to my whole crew. Shout out to all of them. The process that we go through when it comes to filmmaking is probably like none other because we scrutinize everything. You know what I mean? And we're very honest with ourselves. Like, this ain't dope. This not dope. This need to be better. This need to tighten up. Don't matter what everybody else say. It don't matter that everybody say, oh no, that's the shit. We don't care.
Yeah.
This is going to be better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's one of probably the better attributes you can have as a inspired or aspiring filmmaker.
Yeah. I agree. Oh no, you.
What made you get into film? Because it's not often that it's not often that when you come to Dallas you're gonna see a black man doing film. Like I went to art, so I've seen theater and things like that, but I've never seen a black man in Dallas thoroughly take film series. So what got you in? What got you started?
Well, to be honest and fair, I do know black men that take film seriously here in Dallas, and shout out to all of them. Shout out to all the directors that's even been doing it before me. But it was doing the first one, the Triple D movie, and I was like, shit, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And sometimes you get up, you ever get sick, and you get up in the morning, hopefully you just shook the bug off, but then you got a little cough or something, you realize you ain't got rid of the bug. I ain't been able to get rid of the bug since. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is passion. That's purpose too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like filmmaking is my purpose. I hate that it took me 30 years to realize. But yeah, filmmaking that's my thing.
But since you had, experience and skills in the music industry, it kind of just like fell over to the film industry.
It did. Music taught me a lot about creating content. It taught me a lot about discipline. It taught me a lot about structure. It taught me a lot about being a creative. So I can't even sit here and act like music wasn't a big part of me being in film.
Well, what I've learned in this interview is that you are definitely a Triple D fanatic, just like I am. I love my city.
For sure.
I love my city. So to hear that you were the one behind the Triple D anthem blew my mind, I ain't gonna lie. And now it's like Triple D movie, the Triple D Revenge, and more things to come regarding Dallas. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm really excited.
I'm excited too.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you are the person that's leading the way when it comes to like putting Dallas out in the reputation wise, so people can see dopeness.
Thank you. You know what? I hope that other people think the same, and maybe, you know what I'm saying, we can all take this shit over together.
Oh yeah, for sure. You got us now, so what's up? So tell the people how they can follow you and how to stay tuned in to what you got going and all your other future projects.
Well, Triple D Revenge is on the way. You know what I mean? Just stay tapped in, tuned in. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna continue to move and groove like we got something to prove. You know what I mean? If you want to premiere to your city, man, hit my DM. We got booking, contact info, and all that. Let's make that shake. Meanwhile, you can follow me on IG, director_Mr. _E. So it's director Mr. E. And you can go to the website. You can contact me through the website too, tripledrevenge.com. You can get tickets and merch. Go on there, get your merch, all that. Shout out to Bree Productions.
Hey.
The Bree House, man. I had a blast in this interview. I'm gonna tell you that this is one of, and I can say this publicly, like this is one of the best interviews that I've had.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna say this publicly. I'm sorry for you being late. You know, when Bree came out there to the car to get me, she kind of looked at me up and down, and I was like, I know I'm in trouble. You know what I mean? I know I'm in trouble, and I value y'all, and it was worth it. I had a really good time. I appreciate y'all having me on here.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your energy and your cologne. Boy, you smell good than a bitch.
So I took it. So what's today? Tuesday?
Yes.
So I took a bad Friday, and I was just hoping that if I took a bad Friday, that I would still smell good.
But he played too much. He played too much. That's all he do is play. He gonna play in your face if you let him. He gonna play in your face. But thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe and leave a comment below if you have any questions regarding the Triple D movie or regarding Bree Productions. Let us know in the comments. Again, stay dangerous. Peace.